You guys have been on my case for time saying, TJ, I beg you do a summer fragrance video. What's the best fragrances to wear when it's getting warmer outside? And it's finally that time, man. Let's do it. Yes, people, what is going on YouTube, and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name's TJ, and over here on my channel, I discuss all things fragrances and the fragrance industry. So if there's any content you would like for me to create, anything at all, let me know down in the comments. So we're in that transition period out of winter and into spring. So here in the UK, outside today, there is blue skies, but it is still cold. Don't get it twisted. But over as the weeks go by, it is going to start to get a little bit warmer. So now we can start to almost leave those darker, spicier fragrances behind and move into a new territory. And one thing I don't like about content, man, it is a bit annoying because people want videos like summer fragrances in the middle of winter, and it's like, oh, we're going to talk about fragrances in this period, and then when it's summer, people are going to say, what's the best fragrances to buy for cold weather? And I'm like, bro, like, man, I ain't that smart. I can only think of one thing at a time, but it is that time now, man, so let's go. But how I'm going to do this video, I'm going to give you guys 10 fragrances for spring, and I'm going to cater it to different budgets so nobody feels left out. So I'm going to start off with some cheaper dupe fragrances and some Arabian stuff around that 30, 40, 50 pound mark. Then I'm going to give some designer fragrances, and then I'll end off with like 4 niche fragrances because I know people like that as well. And to make it easier for you guys, I'll just timestamp it dupe, designer, niche, so you can go and jump to wherever you need to go. All right, let's not make the video too long. And the one I'm going to go for, I included this in my best dupe fragrance videos. This is from Afnan, and it is from their Zemaya line. This fragrance here is called Massage Infused. And if you don't know, this is a dupe of Louis Vuitton's Imagination, which I'm pretty sure is right there above my head. And you might have been seeing this fragrance gain a lot of popularity, especially over the last 12 months or year and a half. And for me, it's just a clean, easy, simple, soapy, sophisticated, everyday fragrance. That is the best way that I can describe the scent. And the thing is, you're going to see loads of people speaking about it and going, oh my God, I need to get Imagination, I need to get my nose on it. I guarantee if you think like that and you go and smell it, you're going to be like, okay, yeah, is this what everyone's on about? Like, it's one of them ones. So don't have your hopes up so high when you're going to test it. But trust me, whatever you think of on the first sniff, get a sample of it, or when you buy the fragrance, when you wear it 4, 5, 6, 7 times, you are really going to appreciate how simple but well done it is. And I've tried other dupes of Louis Vuitton's Imagination. I've tried French Avenue or Fragrance World. They got one in a white bottle called Essence de Blanc, but I'm telling you, that one's a little bit off. There's something about it that I don't like. When it comes to Massage Infused, I really do like this one. But what one do I think is the best? I've got it right next to me. So I think this one, Bougermi Hectic, is the best dupe that I've tried of Imagination. However, when it comes to price, this one's going to be 30 quid or less, and I think you can get this on DXB using my code TJ15 for even cheaper if it's still in stock. And this one's much higher in price. I think it's like £90. So yeah, definitely when it comes to price, Massage Infused takes the dub. However, the only real difference that I see in Massage Infused is this one is a tad bit more spicier straight out the bat. And that's probably about it. Other than that, for the price, man, this stuff's great. And next we have another one that I've spoken about quite a lot, and it is Afnan Supremacy Collector's Edition. And for those of you who don't know, it is a dupe of Creed's Aventus Absolute. And what's crazy is I actually might prefer this fragrance to the original, which I hardly say. And it doesn't just come down to price, it comes down to the smell. This one is like, the Creed DNA is popular first and foremost, but I feel like with the Absolute DNA, they've made it more intense, of course. They've made those drier, earthy, mossy notes a bit more like turned up, if I can say that. And this is turned up, but it's much more smoother. I really do like this DNA. And I thought when I first tried it, maybe I was bugging a little bit by thinking this was sick. Then I saw people like Ragnar, who has a great nose when it comes to Arabian fragrances and dupes and stuff like that. He said, yo, this thing's fire as well. So that's when I was like, yeah, we're onto something with this. And if you've tried this, I guarantee you would have copped it, because the price on this is only like 50 or 60 quid. And if you watch any guy's fragrance collection, there's going to be Creed Aventus in his collection, or there's going to be a dupe of it, because people just like that DNA. It's so easy to wear. Ask the ladies or watch ladies' reaction videos when they smell Creed Aventus. They like it. So with this DNA, you're not going to go wrong at all. And when it comes down to the price, like I just said, the performance matches and probably outweighs that, because with this one, I get around 8 to 9 hours, which is amazing for me. And the projection is really good. And it doesn't even smell synthetic or a dupe. I guarantee if I'd done a blind smell test with this and the original, which I actually might do if I pluck up the courage to do so, but I think this one would actually win. And I promise, now we're done with Afnan and Zemaya and all that stuff. Now we have a dupe from French Avenue or Fragrance World, and this one, I love this one, I can't lie. This is called Paradigm, and you should be able to tell from the bottle already, but this is a dupe of Initio's Paragon. And I can't give you a comparison between this and the original because I've only tried Paragon like once or maybe twice in my whole life. The next time I go out, I'm definitely going to test it. But I'm thinking, why did nobody tell me about this? Because the juice of this is great. So if this is a one-to-one to the original, anyone who has this in their collection, let me know in the comments. Because if it is a one-to-one of the original, I would just tell you to go for this. Forget the original. And firstly, the atomizer on this stuff is brilliant. Watch this. Bro, man. It's just an atomizer, but still, it's nice to have something like that. And I got this from Elite Aromas, so make sure to check him out. I think he sent this out to me for my birthday back in December. So like 3-4 months ago. And I literally had it in a box until last week. And I'm kind of gutted because I wish I was able to enjoy this more. But I've got it now, so it doesn't matter. And when I first put my nose on this one, straight away, what I picked up, it's not in the fragrance, it was rhubarb. You know those hard-boiled, sugary rhubarb sweets that you would get? Like back in the day, I don't even know if they still do them, but it smelled like that to me. And I think when I looked up the notes, I'm pretty sure it was like blackcurrant, blackberry, plum, something like that was in there. And I don't really get that. I get that rhubarb, fruity sweetness from it. And I think there's lavender in there, which adds to like it being sweet, but a little bit fresh and aromatic as well. But honestly, this DNA, I can smell it in the air right now, it's fire. So the best way for me to describe it would be a bubblegummy, woody base that is not proper youthful and childish. Because when you hear bubblegum, you might think, oh, it's for kids and whatnot. Not at all. Imagine that ultra male kind of bubblegum DNA, but with woods in the base. This is good. You guys know already, French Avenue, what they put out 99% of the time is good stuff. So I think this is a nice fragrance that is sweet. It's a little bit soft. It's not too in your face. You could wear this to school. You could wear it to work. It would do just fine. And yeah, honestly, after trying this one, I 100% recommend it. And it's probably up there. I can't say it's up there with the best dupes in my collection, but one of the best Arabian fragrances in my collection then. And now we're done with the cheaper fragrances and dupes, and now let's move into the designer fragrance realm. And the first one, which is actually my first purchase from the house of Valentino, it is actually Valentino Born in Roma Coral Fantasy. Again, it's not one that I think is going to blow you away in terms of smell. It's got a nice fruity touch to it. I'm pretty sure there's like red apple in the top. There's tobacco in there, which I don't really get at all. I think there's lavender, and what I think ties the fragrance together really well is the patchouli in this, because I feel like without that, it'll be super soapy and clean, whereas the patchouli in this adds that spice and makes it much more masculine. And this one was literally catching dust on my shelf, and I was like having a little clean the other day and I saw it and I was like, I haven't worn that in time. And then I've sprayed it and I was like, cool, I understand why, because it's not really for me an autumn and winter fragrance. So it's been on the sidelines. But again, when I look outside and I see blue skies, I'm like, this is the perfect time to wear this fragrance, especially in the spring. And if you've tried any of the other fragrances from Valentino's normal designer line, not the Privé collection, a lot of them are a little bit more darker. There's iris in there, a little bit powdery, maybe much more sweeter. And for the spring, I think you want to go down the soapy, clean kind of route, and this does it. And I'm pretty sure for a 50 ml right now on the Tino, you can pick it up for around 50 quid. So a little bit cheaper than Afnan Supremacy Collector's Edition, and it does the job, man. It smells good. But then compared to the next two designer fragrances that I'm going to touch on, this one is probably the one I would recommend the least. I'm moving on to one that I think is criminally underrated. I don't see many people speak about this at all, and I know loads of people last year got gifted this by the brand. This was sent out to me by Gucci. It is Gucci Guilty Elixir Pour Homme, and they do, I think they released a Pour Femme at the same time in a purple bottle. I'm pretty sure I gave that to the missus. She doesn't wear it that much, but I know I like that fragrance, and I'm telling you, this is super underrated. I believe this one was made by the master perfumer Quentin Biche, and I think when it came, I wasn't excited by it. I'm like, oh, fragrance from Gucci, don't really rate too much from them apart from Gucci Intense Oud. So I think I left this in a box as well for like 3 months, and then I opened it and I was like, wow, like it's not something I really expected from the house in one of their masculine fragrances. I would expect this kind of DNA to be in a feminine one, but I'm telling you, it works a treat. So there's plenty of florals in this fragrance. So you get orange blossom, you get vanilla, it's got an ambery base, there's a touch of green in this, and it almost smells like as if you're in a garden or you're in a park and you pick up a flower and put it to your nose. You know that kind of musky pollen, dry feel you get to it? I feel like that's what happens with me when I smell white florals, apart from tuberose, but it's not sweet at all, it's not spicy at all, it's just soft, it's creamy, it's light, green, elegant, And literally, spring is the perfect time for this. And even in the air now, I get a dryness and a muskiness, which I'm not a fan of. It depends what it's paired with, but I don't know. This is just done really well. And when I'm thinking about the designer fragrances in my collection, this has definitely got to be up there with the best ones, which I know is a stretch. I know I've got Armani Code Absolute, which is amazing. Obviously, the strong reviews are great. Ozara The Most Want is fantastic. Guerlain on L'Homme, EDL, EDP, and Parfum are great, but this one has to be up in like top 5 without a doubt. Now, this next one I haven't spoken about for at least 2 years. I remember speaking about this loads when I first started my channel and my collection wasn't as big. And I feel like it's super slept on. Nobody really cares about this fragrance, but I think it's time to bring it back, man. It's a really good fragrance. It is this one from Chanel. It is a L'Eau Homme Sport, but this is the OG, not the Eau Extreme. And then I thought, why not chuck in this one here and give a quick comparison of them two. This one came out early last year and it's called Super Leggera. So the OG L'Eau Homme Sport is more of that oceanic, beach, breezy kind of fragrance. So citrus is in the top, definitely. I always remember that nice bit of spice that's in there. There must be like black pepper or something, which just kind of adds to that airiness. I just really like it in this. Obviously, a bunch of citruses in there. But what is really good about this fragrance, it still has an older kind of feel because there's woods in the base. I'm pretty sure there's vanilla in here as well. So the concoction and the balance of top, mid, base, what they've done in this is really good. So I know loads of people don't really talk about Chanel or L'Eau Homme Sport, and I feel kind of old talking about it, but I'm telling you, when you go down to beauty-based fragrance shop, just put your nose on it one more time. And I remember buying this one from Boots when I had like less than 10 fragrances, so it's one of the first 10 that I copped. And then they brought out the Super Leggera last year, and I just had to get it for just pure nostalgia reasons. And I didn't love it, but I was just like, because I like this one so much, I didn't know if this was going to be like a limited edition, so let's go and secure it. So where I said this is that citrus, breezy, vanilla kind of feel, this one's totally opposite. I would class this more as that detergent kind of air freshener or fresh laundry kind of smell. And I know my missus really likes these kind of fragrances nowadays, so maybe I need to start rocking this, because one fragrance she's absolutely fallen in love with that I can't really get on board with is the Acne Studios and Frederic Malle collab, which literally smells like a detergent. So soon I'm going to be picking out for her, and then maybe I'll rock this and she'll rock that. And the only thing annoying when it comes to Chanel, you can't really find their fragrances on discounters because they love to sue people left, right and center. But yeah, check out either of these two fragrances. And the final part is the niche fragrances. So this is for people who have obviously a higher budget and want to spend more money on fragrances, or you think you want to smell a little bit more unique than the designer fragrances that everyone knows about and can get. And I've got 4 for you guys now, and they range from around the £130 range all the way up to £250. So I think I've got some good options in there that are a little bit different. So the first one is from a house called Nobile or Nobile 1942. I can never say the name, but it is La Danza. How do you even say it? Del Libuel. La Danza del Libuel. Someone help me out in Italian, man. And this one's a really fruity, sweet fragrance. So if you don't like that, I know for a fact you're not going to like this already. But I picked up a sample of this from Javoy. I think they just chucked it in when I bought a fragrance. And I remember testing it and then being like, hey, this is nice, it's different. Haven't got anything like that. Let's grab it before I go on holiday. Bought the full bottle before I went on holiday, and I really enjoyed it while I was away. This is not super unique, but again, it's not a DNA that I've had a lot of experience with. And a disclaimer, the performance is not amazing. You're going to get around 6 hours. So for me, that's fine, man. Not everything's got to be crazy beast mode and whatnot. But what you're going to get in this fragrance is almost like, it's fruity and sweet, but it smells like apricot and pineapple, but like a fizzy drink. So imagine like a Rubicon or the KA Fizzy edition. That's what it smells like. Really sugary, really sweet, and there's some florals in there to balance out. I'm sure there's maybe orange blossom as well in there and vanilla as it dries down. But yeah, it's just something different. If you guys have tried Memo Paris Sintra, the white and blue bottle with the orange juice, and it's got that kind of candy, youthful fizziness to it, this one smells similar. And why I included it in this list is because when it comes to summer, I probably won't wear this as much on a super hot day because, again, it's a little bit too cloying. And I've worn this one and I tried it in autumn and winter, and it didn't really hold up that great. So I feel like the colder, crispier days, this one would do the job. And I know they do an X straight, and loads of people say the X straight is much better and lasts longer. But again, the price difference is a little bit crazy when the smell isn't all that mad. Now up next is one of my favorites from the house of Maison Francis Kirkjohn for spring and summer. It's one that I picked up recently, and it is masculine plurial. And I know you guys can see the juice there, and loads of people said, what's going on? I've got masculine plurial and the juice is like kind of purpley or grey. This is obviously a reformulation and whatnot, but this is how it looks now. And this fragrance was on my radar for a minute, and when I met the Maison Francis Kirkjohn team in January, the guy I met, he was wearing this, and for the whole 2 hours we were sitting there, I just kept smelling it. I was like, it's not Terre de Hermes on that end, but it smells quite classic and refined. And then I asked him at the end, and he said it was masculine plurial. And after that, I think like 2 weeks went by and I went and grabbed it. And the only reason I bought it on the day I did is I went down to Harrods Beauty in Lakeside, smelt this, sprayed this on one hand. Then I went up to DXB Perfumes and I sprayed like some heavy Oud Maracuja dupe. Then me and my boy went bowling, and he was sitting down as I was taking my turn to bowl, and he was like, bro, that fragrance you're wearing is proper nice, it's loud as well. And I was like, he's got to be talking about the Oud, innit? So I was like, what is it, this one? And he's like, no, it's not the Oud. I gave him that other hand, and he was like, bro, it's that. So straight after we finished the game of bowling, man ran to Harrods Beauty, and I copped this one. And lucky I had like a 50 or 60 pound discount on my Harrods Beauty card. So where this is like 175, I got it for like 120 or 125. And it's a very old school type of fragrance. The name obviously suggests masculine plurial. I would say this is super manly, super masculine, kind of what you would think of like a man dressed in like a, what's that like checkered suit, Peaky Blinders style with a flat cap. It's got grapefruit in there, there's some citruses in there, there's lavender as well. I'm pretty sure there's leather, but I don't really get any in there. And then again, what I really enjoy is that vetiver. But bear in mind, this fragrance is an EDT, so you ain't gonna get 24 hours crazy projection on none of that, but it does do really well for being an EDT, because it is like, I think, what's an EDT, like up to 12 to 14%, and then 15% to Eau de Parfum, but it is really nice. It would be classed as a barbershop fragrance, a fougere, like a colonia fragrance. That's what it would kind of go down, but I'm telling you, I've enjoyed wearing this. I think I took a sample of this out to Australia as well, and I loved wearing it while I was out there. So definitely go and try this one, because it's an underrated one from MFK. You don't see a lot of people speak about it, but again, it's not going to be super youthful. But yeah, man, as long as you're not like 12, 13, man, you can put this on. And the second from last fragrance that we have here is from Fragrance du Bois. It is Serene or Siren, and this is their first female fragrance that they launched last year or the year before. And then this year, I'm sorry to say, but they released Lucius, and I've got it down on the floor there. Can't be bothered to get it. It's in a full black bottle. They released it and then they took it off the shelves because customers were complaining that it didn't perform. And then they re-released it, probably let it macerate for a little bit longer. And for me, it's just, I see hella people talking about it saying, oh, this fragrance is banging. For me, it's not dead. I'm not going to say it's dead, but it's like, it's just so boring. In a world now where there's designer houses are not really releasing anything good or creative, they've done the exact same, if not worse. It's a boring fragrance. I wouldn't recommend anybody to buy it for that price. But listen, every time I spray this one now, I am a fan. I don't care that they say it's a female fragrance. It is not at all. 100% unisex, sweet floral, almost like a cherry almond champagne kind of feel. So if you like Girl Alone, EDL, EDP, imagine that with a little bit more florals and a little bit sharper instead of that leathery masculine feel. But seriously though, this fragrance is good. I don't know if it's the best from Fragrance du Bois. I would still go with Cavort right now, but this is definitely up there, top 5. But this is what I would wear on like a calm day out. Like you can wear it on a date, you can wear it to go shopping, a little Soho chill. You just come from swimming, you put it on with the missus. Like it's so versatile and will work in so many situations that's probably why I think it's a great scent. And before we go into the last one, if you notice with this list, I wanted to kind of talk about fragrances that not a lot of people speak about on social media. It's the same ones, the liquid brands, the imaginations. We love them, but no one wants to watch a video where everybody's recommending the same scents. So in this video, I've tried to choose some different ones, less spoken about, a little bit more unique that put you guys onto it. And maybe from you trying that, you'll find something you love from that house and then go and try something else. So I hope the recommendations so far have been all right. And last but not least, we have a fragrance from Goldfield and Banks. And I already know you guys think I'm going to say Ingenious Ginger, Pacific Rock Moss, Silky Woods. None of that. This one hardly gets spoken about at all. It came out last year. It is called Mystic Bliss. It's in a beautiful bottle, man. I absolutely love this bottle. And I feel like Goldfield and Banks, they're a house who really know their identity when it comes to a perfume, because they don't follow the masses. They create their own scents with great stories behind it. And when you smell a Goldfield and Banks fragrance, you're like, that's definitely from them. However, when it comes to this one, this was something different. I was like, I haven't really smelled anything like it. But again, I would not say that Goldfinger Banks would make a scent like this, but when you hear the story about it, makes sense. And I wouldn't recommend this fragrance any other time than spring, because I feel like this is the perfect time to rock it. There's something about it where it's aromatic. Almost smells a little bit like them dusty Love Heart Sweets or Parma Violets. There's green in there. It's a little bit herbaceous. Like, it's just a lovely fragrance. And I think the story of this was meant to be, I thought it was going to be on here. Oh yeah, Flinder Island, Tasmania. So an island in Tasmania. I think this is what this fragrance is meant to resemble. And what I do have to say, there is fig in this fragrance. So if you're not a massive fig lover, you're not going to like it, because I can smell it. Super prominent. Even more prominent than BDK's Gris Chanel Straight. But the way they've done it, I think there's fig, there's mint, there's woods in there, and there's incense, which I feel like incense is the perfect accord or note, whatever, in the spring to make the fragrance stand out a little bit more. It smells a touch smoky, but not too smoky. It's a little bit balsamic, resinous. Honestly, man, I don't understand why Mystic Bliss doesn't get the love and appreciation from the house, especially when it comes to other balsamic scents like Silky Woods and Silky Woods Elixir. So for me, a true aromatic fragrance that is perfect for this time of year. This is not one, however, that I would wear to go to work or school, just because it is a little bit out there. It's not a common smell that people are necessarily going to be fond of when they're sitting next to you in a small cramped office. But I'm telling you, like on an everyday basis outside of work and school, Mystic Bliss from Goldfinger Banks will do the job. But yeah, man, I hope this video wasn't too long. That is 10 spring fragrances at all different budgets for you guys. So I hope you found one in there that you didn't know of, or that I explained well, that you think you'll like. Thank you guys for watching. Tune into the next video. And I think right now, your boy might actually be in Dubai. So check out the Dubai content that is loading and uploading on the channel. But yeah, man, thank you guys for watching. And as always, love for the love, my people.